It didn't run on two legs. It ran, and I'm going to stress this so strongly, it ran between 2 legs and 4 legs, 2 legs and 4 legs. That's what I saw. So, I mean, you guys who believe in Bigfoot can sit there and chalk it up as whatever. All I can say is what I seen. Now, I saw something. That's more than a lot of people have. But I was out in the middle of the Canadian Rockies, miles away from anything. So I really think it's hard to go somewhere like a campground and walk about 500 feet and see a Bigfoot. I just don't buy that one.
And you make a good point. And like Jason brought up earlier about the Patterson-Gimlin film, I believe Bigfoot's a flesh and blood animal. And in that film, that is a flesh and blood animal, a female of all things, walking across there. That's not a spirit or interdimensional being, I don't think, by no means.
And it was on film, not videotape. So, I mean, do you know how hard it would be to dock or film?
Well, especially at that time, and the fact that we can see leg muscles, that tells me that it's most probably real. But the thing that really the selling point for me is the fact that it's got boobs.
Yeah.
In 1967, why would somebody, if I'm going to get a costume and fake this, why would I make it a female, and why would I make the female parts move like a human females would? Keep it simple. If you've got a deception, the more simple you keep it, the better chance you have of pushing it off, as opposed to making it more complicated. The more complicated the things are, the better chance they are of screwing up.
Well, the movement of the taking the steps as it was walking away, the arm swing, the head turns, all that stuff. I think it would be so hard for a person to fake that. Again, you mentioned the boobs bouncing up and down. I'm sorry to say it that way. But, I mean, you also had that. You could see the muscles. All the fake ones I ever seen, you don't see muscles. You don't see any, body parts moving around. You don't see that type of stuff. I come to the conclusion a lot of the fake videos of Bigfoot, have you ever noticed they don't have a penis?
No, I've never been checking them out like that, but maybe I will in the future.
Well, I'm sorry, maybe I'm just strange, but when I get a lot of people sending me pictures all the time, and I bring it into Photoshop, and I start looking at the head, I start looking at the whole thing, and I go down, I've seen other female Bigfoot pictures that are supposedly of, and they have the right equipment at the right places. The dead giveaway is when you don't see the equipment and you just see basically a costume. You don't see any muscles. You don't see any muscle movement in videos. You don't see anything. You see the actual costume moving as they take the step, not a muscle.
Right. Yeah, right. Yeah. And still pictures, the thing that tips me off that a still photograph is probably fake is if it looks too good. If it looks, and I don't mean real, I mean if it looks, like Bigfoot standing there posing. Because there have been a ton of those. And, if you're just out in the woods and see a Bigfoot, it's going to be a rough-looking photo. And because, let's look back at Patty. That's a weird-looking creature. I mean, it really kind of looks fake. But I don't, since we don't have real pictures of Bigfoot in an encyclopedia or anything like that. We don't know exactly what it would look like walking, through the woods. I don't know. One's got to be unfortunately put down so science can dig into it before we actually will accept all this.
Well, yeah, you said the bad words. You know that. I
know I did.
I got, last time I said that, James, I said it twice over a week period. I didn't even bother reading the emails the next morning because people told me how bad a person I am. But you know what? Look, this debate about Bigfoot, does it exist or doesn't it exist, is only going to be answered one way. One, somebody stumbles on the remains of a Bigfoot, and is smart enough to take body parts of it and take it back so it can be tested, or they shoot it and bring back parts. I hate to say it. That way, then the government can step in and say, hey, this is an endangered species, or it's a humanoid, and then put laws on it, where it's you go to prison if you kill one. But until we do that, we have no proof they really exist, other than people like me that actually seen one. We need that proof. We really need that. And that will get rid of all the speculation that's floating around. We really need that.
Right. I do not, and I'm on record right now, I do not want somebody to go out and just shoot one and kill it. That's something I don't want. But on the other hand, I kind of do, because that, as you just said, that's the only way that we're going to get behind, get this behind us, that Bigfoot does or doesn't exist.
Well,
maybe we'll have some accident. A semi will hit one. But that's gonna be it.
Yeah. Well, maybe someday, the right type of people that are, very, how can I say it? If they see it, and maybe they'll get a good picture of it, and then we'll get proof that way. I have no idea. I just think,
I don't trust pictures. I don't trust pictures. Today's pictures at all. I am not all that good at Photoshop, and I can make some things look, decently realistic. And there are people out there a million times better than me, so I cannot trust photos.
No, and I always get suspicious. Like, there is certain people who will send me pictures like UFOs. They go out on their porch every day, and every day in the morning and at night they get pictures of UFOs. Day in, day out. And they're the only ones I come to conclusion that do it. They send me these pictures. And I guess they spend a lot of their life doing Photoshop, because who are they impressing? They're certainly maybe only impressing themselves.
Right. I mean, because if this is, and it's like people who say, yes, a ghost appears every single night at exactly 10 p.m. in exactly this spot in my house. Okay. Get some scientists there, and so they can catalog it. And with the guy with the guys with the UFO pictures, okay, get somebody from the government there, get somebody there to catalog this, and because just you taking pictures, if it happens with that regularity, you've got to get somebody else there to do something about it. I mean, because there have been a number of stories I've read about people who live in a house in the woods, and they're like, we've got a family of Bigfoot. They come up to our house every single day, and I leave food out for them, and I see them, the children come and pick it up. Okay, BS. Unless, you call the authorities and they come in and capture one, I don't believe a word of it.
Well, I hate to say it. There's a lot of people, they want their 5 minutes of fame on, the media. I mean, they live for it. And unfortunately, eventually people realize that what they saw or they're talking about is a bunch of what.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Everybody wants to be a star and get there. I mean, it's easier than ever today to be a star online. But you're not doing anybody any favors whatsoever with hoaxes. I still think back, I got kind of excited with the Bigfoot in the freezer until I saw Tom Biscardi was behind it. That was a big red flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just the hoaxes.
Now, are we talking?
A hoax that,
are we talking now? Okay, we're talking about the guy. I put it up on my Facebook, but I will go back farther. Back when Art Bell, my friend, was alive, and I'm going to go back to the '90s, where he had a doctor from the state of Washington, actually near Seattle, Issaquah, matter of fact, went out with his dog and saw a creature of some sort. And the creature actually killed his dog, and he got a big branch, and he thought he killed it, and he put it in the freezer. Now, I talked to Art about that several times, because the guy even sent pictures of it to Art. And Art really believed that one was real. And because it was the guy was a medical doctor. Of course, that doesn't mean somebody's normal if they're a medical doctor too, does it? But
no.
But,
and I remember that story. I remember Art talking about that story on the air.
Yeah. Now, Art believed that one. And, Art, like I said, had a photograph of what it was and some test results. So, but then again, that thing disappeared. I wonder why. Because I think, something like that, they don't want proof of it existing. But who knows what that was? Because, the guy thought maybe it was spacey, but maybe not. It could have been a Bigfoot. Who knows? But the thing is...
Right, and what about Bugs? I mean, again, talking about Art, there was a hunter named Bugs who allegedly shot one and buried it in the woods because he thought it looked too human, and he didn't want to get charged with murder, and he sent Art a map to exactly where it was. What happened to the map?
Well, as far as I know, Art still had it, and Art really believed the story. And now there's a lot of people out there, when you talk to them about that story, they'll say, oh, that was just a farce. It was a put on. But Art did spend time talking to the guy a lot off the air, because his reputation was on it. Of course, again, Art always used to tell me, doing a talk show was entertainment. But Art really believed that that guy was telling the truth, because why would somebody try to make up something like that? It was, I think, very credible. I mean, I have listened to that over and over again.
Well, and the guy didn't use his real name. He didn't want his name associated with it. That lends more credence to me that the story is probably real.
Oh yeah, and he wasn't trying to sell a book either or anything, or market himself.
Well, and the people who are less, looking for, not really looking for attention or to profit from something. I mean, you got to ask yourself, why are they doing it?
Oh, and I in the case like this too, like me and Art talked about. Art said, from all the research he did on that time, a body being buried in the type of ground that was buried at, that the body would decompose rather fastly, number one. Two is there's other critters out there would probably smell it and dig it up and drag out what body pieces there was left. So the odds are finding something that's been buried for a year or 2 or 3 in the ground is going to be very slim, to be honest with you.
And this has been what, 20 years?
Yeah, about 20 some years, 25 years. God, yeah. I'm getting old.
Well, and this is something I think whenever someone does get some viable DNA of a Bigfoot and it gets tested, I would bet almost anything it's going to come off as human. I really do.
I think it's going to come out pretty much human because I think it has human DNA. I hate to say it again. We're going to have to be on break. This will be our last break for the next half an hour. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio. We got Jason Offutt. We got James Christbaum out there. Jason Offutt, I'm sorry. I tell you what, I'm so excited here. I don't even know my name right now. We'll be back in 2.5 minutes, and we'll continue this on.
Was his dark side lament with a focus on hypnotize and spell. He memorized laws to help sharpen his claws for a future for which he was bent. The time would surely come when for office he would run and claim he was just heaven sent.
Another politician has just taken center stage. He tells all the people that he loves them so. He comes on like a sage, says with him they should engage. A false prophet selling endless empty prose.
He stepped over dead bodies on his climb to the top. The highest post was his aspiration. But he forgot to read the fine print in the contract that he signed, which caused a U-turn to his final destination. He continued on his pathway of destruction and decay, never thinking that his wicked life would end. He never did take stock that the devil is not mocked, and all those broken fences will not mend.
Another politician has just taken taken center stage. He tells all the people that he loves them so. He comes on like a sage, says with him they should engage.